The New York Mets have made their first move post-lockout and is acquiring starting pitcher Chris Bassitt from the Oakland Athletics in exchange for prospects JT Ginn and Adam O'Leary. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Chris Bassitt trade, what it means for the Mets, and what they need to do going forward because the team is still not fully complete, but it definitely is improved. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below. What are your thoughts on the Chris Bassitt trade and what moves would you like to see the Mets do next? Try to be realistic. And if you're new here, you want to help the channel grow, you want to make my night, you can subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. So for months on Mets Weekly, I've been saying that my one concern with this team is the starting rotation. Obviously, we know how great Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer are, but after that, you have quite a bit of question marks. We saw Carlos Carrasco be inconsistent and have some injuries. We saw Taijuan Walker have a tough second half, and he also has injury history. Tylor Megill had some bad starts, and he only is a rookie. It's hard to rely on a second-year player to be a consistent starting pitcher. I wasn't really interested in Kikuchi. I wanted the Mets to pursue the trade market. I actually wrote an article last night about why the Mets should call the Oakland Athletics. Obviously, I love Ty Malley from the Reds, but Chris Bassitt is a really solid pitcher, and I'm very happy the Mets got him. This year, in 27 starts, Chris Bassitt had a 3.15 ERA. He went 12-4 this season. He had 159 strikeouts to only 39 walks, and he gave up 15 home runs. He was an all-star this year, and he wasn't just good in the first half. He was even better in the second half, so he would be a true all-star. If they had something like the NFL, the All-Pro, he might have made that list because he was good in both halves. He pitched good when he was home. He pitched good when he was away. He pitched good in 2020, in 2019, and 2018. This is a proven starting pitcher. This is exactly what the Mets needed. I wasn't crazy about Kikuchi because he had a bad second half, and this was the first time we're like, wow, Kikuchi pitched well. I want a guy that year in, year out, that is a guarantee that he is going to pitch well. That's exactly what you need to follow Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. You got to have certainties. When you have the #1 payroll in all of baseball, you got to make the most of it. You can't have question marks and have so many ifs. If Carrasco gets back to the way he was, if Taijuan Walker is healthy, if Tylor Megill could build off what he did in the rookie year, it's too many ifs. You know Jacob deGrom is really good. He just has to stay healthy. You know Max Scherzer is really good. He just has to stay healthy. That's how the team needs to be constructed. Here are Chris Bassitt's baseball savant numbers. As you can see, he's just an all-around solid pitcher. He doesn't need crazy spin rate. He doesn't need crazy velocity. He just gets guys out, which is the most important thing. Limit runs. Score more runs than the other team, you win ball games. It's a simple concept. We don't need a bunch of metrics and craziness to figure that out. Bassitt just turned 33 last month, so he isn't young, but he isn't too old. And I like that he's been relatively healthy these past few seasons. You don't want a guy who, yay, pitched good, but has injury concerns. The fact that Bassitt's been consistent and healthy the past few years is a huge plus. Again, that's exactly what the Mets need with all the injury concerns they have pretty much across the entire rotation. And yes, it does sting to lose JT Ginn. This is a guy that was ranked as a top 5 prospect, really the only pretty close pitching prospect the Mets have, with Matthew Allen having the Tommy John surgery and then this year having another setback. The Mets do have 2 pretty solid draft picks in this upcoming draft. However, right now, the Mets payroll is at $273 million, which puts them in that 3rd tier of luxury tax, which means that if it were to stay above $270 million, one of the Mets' first-round draft picks will move back 10 slots. One of the picks will not be as good, so obviously that is not ideal. But that is the cost when you are trying to win a championship. There was a small chance that we would even see Ginn this year, and you don't even know what he would be when he came up. So when you have this kind of payroll, when you have deGrom and Scherzer, I mean, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime thing. When you have 2 guys like that in your rotation, you got to capitalize off that. And it's like Steve Cohen has said previously, you don't just barely go over the luxury tax. If you're going to go over, you go over because you're paying the price to try to win a championship. So you got to get as many guys as you can that you feel like, all right, this is the team that's going to help us go all the way. However, this team is not perfect because the bullpen still has some question marks, especially with the loss of Aaron Loup. The Mets definitely could use a left-hander or 2. There are plenty available. That's going to be a future video talking about some relievers that the Mets really should pursue because this bullpen could use a little work. It would be so disappointing if you have a Bassitt or Scherzer or whoever give you a good start and then the bullpen falters. Seth Lugo was a bit inconsistent. Trevor May was inconsistent. Edwin Diaz, he pitched relatively well for the most part of the season, but I know plenty of Met fans still don't trust him. So you want to have as many quality arms as possible in your bullpen. As far as the lineup, I like it. It's not the greatest. It doesn't strike a bunch of fear, but for the most part, top to bottom, the Mets have solid players. The whole Robinson Cano element, if he's going to be the DH or if the Mets could somehow give him some Jet Lowry knee soreness, set him on the couch, give those reps to somebody else. As of right now, J.D. Davis and Dominic Smith are still on this roster. I'm surprised that J.D. nor Dom was in this trade, and the fact that Mets parted with someone like JT Ginn and Adam O'Leary, who they were pretty fond of. They didn't really want to get rid of him. But again, that's the price it pays to get a big-time starting pitcher. You look at what the Blue Jays gave up for Jose Barrios. Now, one of the criticisms is that Chris Bassitt only has 1 year left on his deal, so we could be finding ourselves in another situation where it's like, oh, the Mets traded a top 5 prospect for a rental. You know, Pete Crow Armstrong 2.0. Even though Pete Crow Armstrong's not top 5, he's top 10, but still, you're trading a top prospect for a rental. Bassitt is 33, and if he pitches really well and he backs up DeGrom and Scherzer and you feel like we really need to keep this guy going forward, you always could re-sign him, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a rental. And the other thing that's good about this is that it improves the Mets' depth, because instead of relying on Tyler McGill to be in your starting 5, you could just start him off for AAA, or at some point, if McGill is pitching amazing in the minor leagues and he's becoming a budding ace, and you have all these guys pitching pretty well, but you want to give them some rest, and it's Tyler McGill to make a 6-man rotation. This way you have as healthy as possible DeGrom, Scherzer, Carrasco, Walker, and these guys. That would be nice to see. David Peterson could stay in the minor leagues. You could keep Jordan Yamamoto there, Trevor Williams there. This season, there's going to be 9-inning doubleheaders. There's not going to be as many off days because those are going to be used to make up some games that were canceled with this lockout. So you might see a lot of pitching injuries, which depth might be more important this year than it usually is. And depth is always important, but it might be even extra important this year. I really love this Bassitt move. He definitely is a solid number 3. The Mets have one of the better rotations in the league now, which is what it takes to win championships. We know in 2015, what got the Mets to the World Series, the starting rotation. I always lean starting pitching. I've said it for months. When the Mets come back from this lockout, starting pitching, it's got to be the main focus. And they were able to accomplish that. If they want to add more starters, go for it. It's not my money, but I definitely would like to see them add more relievers. So again, let me know what you guys think about the Bassitt move, what else the Mets should do. And until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy. Let's go Mets. Go get some relievers.